Jade invites the Astral Express to Astropolis to discuss a possible alliance, hoping that the Express crew will take on the mantle of leadership for the Anti-Destruction Alliance, a coalition of multiple factions meant to fight the destruction. The crew is suspicious of Jade's motives and decides to put their decision to a vote. In the end, they refuse Jade's offer, pointing out how important it is for the Trailblaze to maintain its current philosophy of exploring new worlds. Jade informs Himeko that the moon of Planarcadia is full again and tells them that they could stop there if they want to resupply. Planarcadia is also Himeko's homeland and the place from where the Express departed 15 years ago. After the grueling experience they had in Amphorius, the crew decides to go to Planarcadia and take it easy. Black Swan left because the Garden of Recollection issued a summon for all Memo Keepers. Bye, I guess. I feel like she could have said goodbye to the rest of the crew at least, but anyway. Planarcadia, here we come! And we're dead again. Is this Amphorius all over again? Are we in the comic? We must be in the comic. Well, the Express successfully arrives in Planarcadia. We're totally not inside Evanesia's comic. We meet Pearl, who tells us that the Fantasmon games are about to start again and that many guests have gathered on Planarcadia to visit during this time, including a big shot from the Xianzhou Yucha. Himeko and Welt decide to go meet with Pearl, Danheng and Sunny go to ask more about the Xianzhou envoys, while the Trailblazer and March are allowed to get a well-earned rest. We learn from Himeko that the Fantasmon games are held whenever the Fantasmon waxes full, and that the participants must compete for the chance to have an audience with Aha, the Eon of Elation. Aha will hear the victor's wish and share their authority for 1 minute. As we and March hop off the train, the first person we meet is like us? And of course it's Sparkle, who claims that she was commissioned by Pearl to serve as our tour guide. We learn about Imaginae, creatures unique to Planarcadia that sustain their existence through humanity's belief, also known as wish power, and we are swarmed by a mob of people who came here to see us. We use a special passage through the world of Canvas to leave the station, and after that we go around and learn more about Planarcadia and its people. The most important information is that the Fantasmon was rumored to be painted by Aha themselves. Also, during the Fantasmon games, 8 masked supplicants must attract the public attention and accumulate wish power to compete for the right to stand before Aha and have their wish granted. Wait. Isn't this just basically a Holy Grail war? Anyway, we meet a paparazzi raccoon called Furbulitzer. Really, Hoyo? Furbulitzer? Anyway, after we bully the poor fellow, he invites us to visit Furbobo weekly to get some compensation. We also learn that Sparkle isn't the biggest fan of the IPC's version of Elation that has spread across Planarcadia. Workers arrive to apprehend Sparkle, revealing that she was never the tour guide assigned to receive the Express crew, because of course she wasn't. Sparkle bids us farewell, leaving behind a friendly hint. Whether looking up or down, they all see the same Fantasmon when gazing at the sky. Oh, and she also leaves us a name, Sparxie, who is supposedly a very famous streamer in Planarcadia and our enemy if we decide to join the Fantasmon games. It turns out that Scott was the real guide. He joined the strategic investment department after the Holy Grail War, but was knocked out and stuffed into a trash can by Sparkle before he could meet us. We go to the plaza where enthusiastic fans are waiting for Sparxie to start streaming. As the stream was about to begin, Sparxie recognizes Sparkle's scent on us, weird, and then she drags us into the screen. After we escape, Sparxie relies her rabid fanbase on us, claiming that the Astral Express was working with the IPC to manipulate the Fantasmon games. She really is a streamer, huh? In the end, the Trailblazer and March are saved by Officer Kuchiba from the Department of Aberration Defense, who was called there by Scott. Himeko and Welt visit Pearl, declining the proposal to form an alliance with the IPC and emphasizing that the Trailblaze must remain independent. Still, they express a willingness to collaborate. Himeko suspects that the IPC wants to use the Fantasmon games to curry favor with AHA. Pearl brings them to the Fantasmon courtyard, the ceremonial hub of the Fantasmon games. She explains that once the 8 supplicants don their masks, the Fantasmon games will begin. We learn that the Graphia family, of which Himeko is also a part of, had passed down a mask of elation through generations. Pearl reveals that she also has 3 masks and wants to use them to regulate the Fantasmon games. Himeko warns her that AHA is a very big troll and thus unpredictable, urging her to exercise caution. Meanwhile, news about masked fools causing trouble in the plaza arrives at their ears. Himeko and Welt wish to reunite with the Trailblazer and March in order to find out what happened, but Pearl asks Himeko to remain behind and discuss some more. We and March arrive at Graphia Academy to retrieve a mask of elation from Professor Dolly, one of Himeko's acquaintances. As we stroll around, we found a creation left behind by Graphia herself. This will be important later. Meanwhile, we find Welt, who acts in a really sus way and claims that he just finished the paperwork to transfer us and March to the academy. After that, we visit the dean's office, who turns out to be none other than Sparxie. What the is happening? Okay. So she basically manipulated the cognition of everybody in the academy to think that she's the dean. She tries to do the same to us and March to make us forget about the Fantasmon games. Because of Sparxie's manipulation, we have the impression that we are actually students at the Graphia Academy and that 2 years have passed. In the meantime, Sparxie is rallying up some of the students to search for someone. Anyway, after a strange turn of events involving beating, humiliating and cucking Scott, we remember the real reason why we came to the academy in the first place and start searching for Miss Dolly again. Unfortunately, it's too late, because Sparxie, disguised as us, finds Miss Dolly first and gets the mask from her. It turns out that this was the person she was searching for to get the mask in order to participate in the Fantasmon games. By the time we arrive, Sparxie already donned the mask and revealed that she's planning to hold a massive livestream event called the SparxieCon to turn every viewer into her die-hard fan. After a sudden bout of dizziness, we wake up alone in the archive room with March 7th nowhere to be found. Sparxie uses the school broadcast to mobilize the students, ordering them to hunt us down. As we were about to be caught, Evanesia makes her appearance through a painting and drags us to the Fantasmon courtyard. She explains that there is a comic book in Planarcadia called Fluffy Across the Blue, based on the Astral Express crew. With the Fantasmon games about to begin, Evanesia lends us a mask of elation, tasking us with defeating Sparxie within a single day and night. Otherwise, there is a big price to pay. After leaving the Fantasmon courtyard, we encounter Sparkle once more. She explains that Sparxie was once her virtual avatar used during online streams and that she came to life under the influence of the Fantasmon. Meanwhile, General Yao Guang of the Xianzhou Yuche visits Pearl to discuss an alliance. She brings intel that Blade has arrived in Planarcadia, hired by a local gang under the moniker Xianzhou's #1 assassin. Dispatched by Yao Guang, Ting Yun went undercover as Xianzhou's #1 assassin to make contact with the Sinwish Syndicate, the organization that presumably wanted to hire Blade. After finding them by underworld custom, she must prove her worth by fighting. Dan Heng and Sunny arrive to bail her out at the request of the Xianzhou delegation. The boss of the syndicate, Paul Waves, steps in and invites the three to his office to discuss business. Paul Waves gives them the Mask of Elation to participate in the Fantasmon games, on the condition that they will say that the Sin Wish Syndicate sponsored them. By drawing attention and wish power, Paul Wei hopes to improve the chances of survival for his syndicate. Ting Yun, Dan Heng and Sunny discuss their next move as Yao Guang arrives, explaining that Jing Yuan was originally meant to undertake this mission, but a divination foretold her that one of the Rainbow Arbiter generals would fall in Planarcadia, prompting her to step in instead. Yao Guang asks Ting Yun for the masks and slaps it on Sunday's face. Well, it turns out that Sunny Boy actually wanted to wear the mask, and Yao Guang saw that through her eyes of Ishvara. She also saw that as long as Sunday follows his heart, he could bring about great change to these games. We then transition to Silver Wolf, who is searching for the Asian Detective Agency. A small monkey named Narrator greets her, claiming to be the detective's assistant. Not these monkeys again, please, Hoyo. She wants to commission Ashvale to find Blade and the mask that Ting Yun and the rest just took from the Sin Wish Syndicate. Ashvale pretends to accept but calls Pearl as soon as Silverwolf leaves to report her. By wiretapping Ashvale's call, Silverwolf learns that Pearl is in the possession of multiple masks. She contacts Blade about the content of the script that he received from Elio, but Blade says that he received a completely blank page. According to a news report, it is the year 1999 in the Arcadian calendar, and a prophecy once foretold that a great evil would descend from the sky. The Department of Aberration Defense confirms that Sparxie has indeed become the first supplicant in the Fantasmon games, and that she announced that she will hold her SparxieCon in 3 hours, and she wanted to use the fame of the Astral Express to farm some views. Man, she really is a content creator, huh? Himeko meets up with us and Sparkle, who suggests going to the tavern to investigate Sparxie's true intentions. She cannot reveal the tavern's location, instead Himeko and us must figure it out on our own. In a weird twist of events, Himeko and us find Furbulitzer in Duffbrook, and we become the new president of Furbobo Weekly. Don't question it, nothing these dumb raccoons do make any sense. But hey, they are cute. Now that we have a team of Furbo journalists at our disposition, we dispatch them to gather information. We meet up with Sunday and Dan Heng and learn from Yao Guang that our fate cannot be read. This means that we have endless possibilities to create any kind of future we want. The main character is special, who could have guessed? Yao Guang asks Himeko to temporarily assign Sunday to assist her, hoping to prevent Blade from joining the Fantasmon games. As her form suddenly vanishes, Ting Yun apologized on her behalf, saying that this happens to Yao Guang all the time. Himeko and us set out again to find the tavern, while Dan Heng and Sunday will continue to assist Yao Guang. After we finally find the tavern, we meet up with Sparkle. She tells us that Sparxie once impersonated her and came to the tavern to retrieve some items, including a memetic virus which she used to control Graphia Academy. To counter this, we need to dig up more information. Meanwhile, Ashvale and Narrator were tracking us. We arrive at the Golden Confessional, a giant toilet where maskfuls release their worries. No, seriously, this is canon. The reason they can pull pranks without feeling much guilt, worry or any kind of negative emotion is because they release them here. Look, don't think too much about it. Here we meet our good old friend, Sampo Koski. Haven't seen him since the Honkai Impact 3rd collab. With Sampo's help, we decide to look for the troubles discarded by Sparxie in the toilet. We eventually find them inside a giant golden toilet. Sparxie's troubles reveal that Sparxie wants to use the memetic virus to turn everybody into herself. After learning her goal, the gang decides to look for a way to counter the memetic virus. Oh, and Sampo left. We arrive at the Fatal Joke, a fake hospital for fools where other fools pretend to be doctors and treat them. We reunite with Zhao Shang, the fool we met back in Lofu during one of the side quests. After more fooling around, Zhang suggests cremating Sparkle. Damn. By burning the original, the Sparxie persona would also die. On the verge of being cremated, Sparkle claims that she figured out a way to stop Sparxicon. Sparkle says that she has a few anti-Sparkle weapons in her collection, enough to make Sparxie regret this. So, Himeko and us decide to follow her to the storage area. Meanwhile, our raccoon spy reports that Sparky was directing the students to dismantle the big wave mural made by Graphia. Again, the mural will be important later. It turns out that the storage keeper is none other than Giovanni. Sparkle's storage list was a complete mess, so Giovanni asks her to go in herself and find where the anti-Sparkle weapons were stored. We find a massive stellar jade and cannot resist its allure. Hey, 60 jades are 60 jades, who could resist? Well, it turns out that this giant stellar jade was a trap set up by Sparxie. She reassembled all the anti-Sparkle weapons into a monster and instructed it to attack the Express crew. After defeating the abomination, Himeko came up with a way to suppress the Memetic virus, manipulate the waters of the Dovebrook in the imaginated landscape mural made by Graphia to wash over the school. Before leaving the tavern, Giovanni tells us to look inside the Blistar orb. Oh, and our spy raccoon was caught. RIP. Anyway, Sparkles explains that sealed within the Blistar is a miracle connected to Aha, and only masked fools could unlock its doors. The orb refused to give Sparkle entry, yet opened a path for us. Sus. Inside the light orb was Aha's echo of primordial laughter. After reaching inside the echo, we pull out a banana, which turns out to be another Memetic virus. Yes. It's the same Memetic virus that infected Penacony back in 2.6 and turned people into monkeys. We decide to use the virus on ourselves to counter Sparxie's virus, since once you are infected by a Memetic virus, you cannot be infected again by another. Ashvel arrives and threatens us to drop the banana, but our hero Sampo bails us out. Sunday meets up with Guang and asks her why she refused to wear the mask and enter the fray herself. Guang explains that due to her Eye of Ishvara, she has seen every passerby marked by an ominous sign and realized that a world-ending catastrophe is approaching. If she wore the mask, her divinations would be amplified and would doom Planarcadia by sealing the fate of all living beings and materializing the catastrophe. Having foreseen the fall of an Arbiter General, Sunday was curious what motivates Guang to save Planarcadia. Guang believes that fortune and misfortune are intertwined, and that now was the perfect opportunity to gamble against the gods. During the Battle of Fangshe, Guang witnessed countless soldiers and a living planet get struck down by the Hunt's Luck's arrow. That's when she realized that even something as mighty as an Eon could be swayed by human will. She wants to draw the elation into her hexagram and shake out a positive fortune for the cosmos and find an answer beyond finality. We arrive at Graphia Academy and use the banana Memetic virus to slow down the Sparxification. We plan to find the imaginated landscape mural hidden by Sparxie and use the waves to cleanse the entire academy. Sparxie appears and claims that Sparkle is the old mask that she discarded and that she's the real one. Look, if I learned one thing about Sparkle is that it doesn't matter who is the original and who is the mask. Maybe both are the mask. Who knows? The story keeps it ambiguous, so it's better not to think too much about it. In the end, Sparkle and Sparxie get into a catfight, buying us time to search for the imaginated landscape mural. Oh, and we reunite with Welt and March 7. As we search for the mural, we arrive in a strange classroom. After looking around, Himeko realizes that this is her old classroom from when she was a student. Here, she reveals that a great catastrophe took place 15 years ago during the last Fantasmon games, and that all the students in the classroom were killed by a sinister entity. After retrieving all the parts of the mural, we head to the courtyard to assemble the imaginated landscape mural and use it against Sparxie. We issue an official challenge to Sparxie and we beat the living out of her with our baseball bat. Yao Guang also makes an appearance and we see a woe aka bad omen above her head. Yao Guang asks us to keep it a secret since saying it out loud and making her aware of her fate could actually make it happen. Oh, and she threatens us to reveal to everybody that we are a former Stellaron hunter. Easy lady. Anyway, Sparxie is defeated and all the students turn back to normal. Sparxie confesses that everything was orchestrated by Sparkle, who had commanded her to do these things and discarded her memories of it. Wait, this is the exact thing that happened in the HI3 and HSR crossover. It's the exact same plot. What the f***, Hoyo? Anyway, Sparkle and Sparxie merge into a single entity and she disappears. At Himeko's request, we go back to the strange classroom to investigate further. Himeko once participated in the previous Fantasmon games as a supplicant. During that time, a supplicant harboring immense malice brutally murdered many students and citizens, leaving bloody handprints at each crime scene. The media dubbed them the Herald of Death. The dean of the Graphia Academy, the real one, not Sparxie, Murata Ryusuke, and those of you who played Honkai Impact 3rd might recognize him, enters the classroom and says that his daughter Himeko was already killed in the last Fantasmon games, asking who is the Himeko in front of him. Oh boy, things are getting pretty interesting right now. Is Himeko fake? Is she just an imaginaire? Cannot wait to learn more about it. Meanwhile, the news report that many people were killed at the Sinwish Syndicate headquarters, including our old friend Scott. No, wait, Scott? No, why him, Hoyo? He was one of the best characters. Just kidding, I don't give a flying f about him. Serves him right. F you, Scott. F you. Kuchiba and Ashvale investigate the murder site and find bloody handprints like the ones left by the Herald of Death in the past. But Kuchiba says that it's impossible for them to return since the Herald of Death died 5 years ago. Ashvale's friend, Costide, the chicken who fought Ting Yun, was also killed by this copycat, and to bring him to justice, Ashvale accepts Pearl's proposal and joins the Fantasmon games. In the meantime, Silver Wolves makes a deal with Pearl to get her hands on a mask. While the two of them talk, Pearl reveals that she manipulated Silver Wolf to come here and take part in the games. Now all 8 masks manifest within the Fantasmon courtyard. Evanescia, who I guess supervises the games, remarks that far too many supplicants with unclear intentions have joined the game this time. Still, the Trailblazer fulfilled their promise to deal with Sparxie, and the calamity foretold in the Oath was wiped clean. As the story quest is about to end, we see a crow that looks like the ones used by Sunday catching Evanescia's attention.